Welcome to SimplyTrade. We've got a special treat for you today. We have this segment called SimplyTrade Tips. We collaborated with, of course, Renee Chiuchiarelli. You all know her. She's a Global Training Center and has been on the podcast. But her buddy, Ms. Julie Parks, which you all may know, is very active in the trade community, decided to come together and record a quick 5 minutes episode. Listen up, and we hope you enjoy.
Good afternoon, morning. Welcome to SimplyTrade Tips. I'm Renee Chiuchiarelli, the Global Training Center trade expert for 30 years, and with me is Julie Parks. Welcome, Julie.
Hey, so I'm Julie Parks. I've been in this trade industry for, I guess, approaching 30 years at this point, pretty similar to Renee's career. I'm really happy to be here today and share some time with Renee. I know we spent a lot of great time together, and it's happy to have the Detroit contingent represented.
Yeah, Detroit, baby. I gave us a little nickname of Hammer and Heels, but our real nickname for the show is Terrifying 2 Parks and Chiuchiarelli. And so Julie and I, when we worked together, she always had this phenomenal idea of networking within our industry. At one point, she sent me to Washington, D.C. to network with Boeing, and we used to work at another defense contractor. So anyway, and it was an awesome event. I was there most of the day. We talked about what we're doing for 9801, what we're doing for tariffs, what we're doing for military duty-free shipments, and we all collaborated, worked together, and left with information that we needed to do our business, do our jobs.
I think that's really important too, Renee. Like the aspect of no single trade professional knows everything. And we are being hurled at the speed of light to things that we haven't touched in a long time. Like, when's the last time you touched a good old fashioned country of origin matter, or really understood how to use 9801 or 9802? Maybe it's not something that you use, but there is a friend out there that actually understands this, not just in your industry, because sometimes that can be a little bit difficult. But you can reach out to folks that are outside of your industry through many different associations like LinkedIn, the American Association of Exporters and Importers. And Renee, to your point, I think every time I went to any in-person event, I don't care what it was, you come with your questions or kind of list of things that you're challenged with at your desk. And I promise you, if you ask or get into an engaging discussion with anybody in the industry, you always leave with information.
Yeah.
Didn't you find that?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I think too, these small groups that we did together with the networking, what was important because you had time to sit in an environment where you could propose questions and, debate and brainstorm. And I love the AEI. I love all the conferences, but I think the small group is nice too, because you have an opportunity to ask more questions. I think one time you used to refer to it as a happy hour, right? But maybe it was more than 1 hour.
Yeah, and I'll say too that community is important. So to your point, Renee, being in a small group, trying to get people in your own community together. I mean, we used to have a Dallas contingent that would meet. Just a few companies were invited, and ebb and flow. Some could come, but it was really nice to actually have some discussion with some folks. And I think times like now, this is when you need your network.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, we need a support group. I mean, and I'm glad you brought that up because I used to live, because we're the Detroit duo, as you said. And when I lived in Michigan, now I'm out in California, we had the Midwest Global Trade Compliance Group, and it was awesome. I used to drive to Grand Rapids, and to this day, I still talk to some of these people. And it was that small network community. You were kind of in the same industry, worked together, same areas, same logistics issues because you were bringing product to the Midwest. So those are the types of communities where they become like support groups. They become your friends.
Maybe just to wrap it up a little bit, I think that if you could do anything with this messaging, I think what you need to do is get on your LinkedIn and find somebody that's local that you can ping, reach out to, and maybe grab a cup of coffee with.
Yes. And we're going to call that FIO, Julie's FIO, figure it out action. Global Training Center has a community. You'll find the link either in our show notes or on our website. And we invite you to go into this community and tell us, did you make the connection? I would say make the connection before you go to bed.
And also, please remember too, you have information to give, not just to get. So I think that it has to work both ways. So don't think just because you have a gap in a certain area that you have an open question in, I bet you any money you're going to help someone out as well. So I think it's a two-way street. It's the community that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you, Parks. We'll be back.
Thank you, Chiuchiarelli.
Thank you very much for joining us. SimplyTrade is brought to you by the generous contributions of Global Training Center. You can follow the show and GTC on LinkedIn or Twitter and other social networks. Make sure you check out the show notes in the description for a full rundown of today's show with all the important links. Also, make sure that you share this with a friend and subscribe on your favorite streaming platform. We really like hearing from you. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to rate and review wherever you listen to this podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the show or would like to sponsor SimplyTrade or suggest any topic you would like for us to discuss, please contact us via email at simplytrade@globaltrainingcenter.com, or you can DM us on Twitter at SimplyTradePod. Thank you again for the privilege of your time. Happy trading. SimplyTrade is not a law firm or an advisor. The topics and discussions conducted by SimplyTrade hosts and guests should not be considered and is not intended to substitute legal advice. You should seek appropriate counsel for your own situations. These conversations and information are directed towards listeners in the United States for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only and should not be substituted for legal advice. No listener or viewer of this podcast should act or refrain from acting on the basis of information on this podcast without first seeking legal advice from counsel. Information on this podcast may not be up to date depending on the time of publishing and the time of viewership. The content of this posting is provided as is. No representations are made that the content is error-free. The views expressed in or through this podcast are those of the individual speakers, not those of their respective employers or Global Training Center as a whole. All liability with respect to actions taken or not taken based on the contents of this podcast are hereby expressly disclaimed.